ma'am.
Greetings to one and all present here. I extend a very sincere, warm welcome to all of you present here on this introductory session on emotional intelligence. And I also want to extend a note of thank you to our guest of honor, Mr. Amiya Tripathy, for accepting our invitation. Dr. Amiya Kumar Tripathy is a professor in computer engineering at Don Bosco Institute of Technology, Mumbai. He had been the Dean of Research and Development. He is also an adjunct professor to a very recognized university in Australia. He had been the secretary to RUSA, Government of Maharashtra, for higher studies in geospatial technology. He is an IEEE ACM professional member and currently the chairman to the IEEE Geoscience and Remote Sensing Society in Bombay chapter. He had carried out many collaborative overseas projects in the domain of data science, computer vision, remote sensing, IoT for agriculture and rural development. I now request Sir to share his knowledge with our students.
Okay, so let me share my screen. 1 minute. 1 minute, I'm just sharing my screen. I hope my screen visible to you. Is my screen visible to you all?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes, sir.
So, welcome to this session, the emotional intelligence. I am Amiya Kumar Tripathy. Basically, I will try to share my experience through so many years of experience working with people, working with different organization, and then I'm talking about the projects that I have been, that is called the workplace, and the different people that I met, not only India but abroad also. People have worked under me for different region, and I have also worked under many people with different region. So that's what I would like to share with you through this session. So when we talk about emotions or emotional intelligence, there are many things comes into way. So the first thing comes into way is something like that. What triggers you or your emotional reaction? So is it people? Is it place? Is it times? Is it word? So all this comes into picture. Is there any disturbance? Something is coming, recording. So what triggers your emotions? People, place, time, and words. So these are the different contexts that our emotions varies over there. So the person that we talk about, the Daniel Goldman, who is the pioneer in the emotional intelligence, judged by new yardstick, not just how smart we are or by our training and expertise, but also how we handle ourselves and each other. So this is what the Daniel Goldman is trying to say this one. So looking into these kind of things, let's move ahead. What is the emotional intelligence is concerned about it. Now, basically, emotional intelligence is not being about nice at all time, right? And it is about being honest, right? And emotional intelligence is not about being touchy-feel, right? It is about being aware of your feelings and those of others, right? In day-to-day life, every day, starting from our home, from the morning to the office works or to the college or studies, whatever things that we have been carrying out, and and from morning to the evening or even to the night, we are, facing different people, different, situation, different places, different context, all things are there. But many times it happens that when there are certain, events, there are certain people, there are certain things that makes us think differently, or maybe sometimes we react instead of a response. So sometimes whenever instead of giving a response, we simply react over there, right? And we may be unable to control our emotions because it is coming inner way, right? So that sometimes may create a problems, maybe in the workspace, maybe in your colleague, maybe in your wherever you are, right? So we have to think little differently, because many times we are coming across different activities over there. So emotional intelligence is not about simply being emotional. Definitely it is about being smart with your emotions. So that is what we talk about emotional intelligence over there. Very this smartness comes in picture over there. So today's training that we talk about will help you all understanding the emotional intelligence and why it is important to personal and professional success. And you recognize 5 competencies you can work on, increase your level of emotional intelligence. Keeping in mind, you can increase your level of emotional intelligence, right? So even though many people may have a low EQ, so-called emotional quotient, and that has been increased with a certain, certain things one has to take care, and with respect to age, this has been increased. However, when comes a IQ, that's called the intelligent, the IQ talk about, which is a little bit, not increasing as the age progress on that one. So there is also a decrease in the increase and decrease of or your emotional intelligence that we will discuss it when the sessions are going on there. So listen to and employ your emotions for better decision making. That is what we will come across. And so you care and you will trust by displaying a sensitivity and concern over there, and use your energy and enthusiasm to motivate others. So this is what you will so-called the takeaway in this session is concerned. So when we talk about things that then, when we talk about a personal benefit of emotional intelligence, when we talk about, so you may have a greater career success, stronger personal relationship, increased optimism and confidence, and better health that we talk about, right? And when comes a professional ability, can have an effective leadership skill, improved communication. Keep in mind, leaders are not just simply giving or directing something. No, it has a different kind of emotional intelligence. It is that's what they have been. For example, I'm talking about Mahatma Gandhi, and throughout this the leadership, it has been found a strong and a good amount of emotional intelligence in that. That's what the British was fearing to have to work with the Mahatma Gandhi is concerned, right? So by having a emotional intelligence, you can have a less workplace conflict, better problem solving skills, increase likelihood of the promotions, and such kind of things could have. There are 5 essential competencies in the emotional intelligences. That is called the self-awareness, self-regulation, self-motivation, empathy, and effectiveness. These 5 terms, many times I will use time to time different contexts. That is what I try to say. And these are the generalized terms. It is equally applicable to almost every places over there. So first 3 is talking about related to ourselves, and the other 2 are related to the others. So because the emotional intelligence is not with ourselves, but also to relate to others. That's what the things are there. It's coming picture. So when we talk about self-awareness, we talk about if you understand your own feelings, you get a really great handle on how you are going to interact and perform with others. So one of the first starting point is what's going on inside of me, that one associate. This is the Chuck Wolfe, who is the president of Wolfe Association LLC. He has told that one, and that is equally applicable to everybody. So you have to practice a self-awareness. Things are there. Awareness of your own emotional state is the foundation of all EI skills over there, right? So learn to tune in to your emotions. They can give you a valid information about your responses to the stressful situation. For example, look at you are going to for a a job scenario or something like that, whereas you are waiting for a call, right? Maybe it's online or offline, and sometimes you are your turn is not coming, or maybe with a low bandwidth of network you have not turned up. Yeah, maybe whatever the sequences could be there, so that you are not getting call, and hence you are going to ask, or the reception counter. Yeah, for example, anybody who want to interact with for such kind of thing, as you are already frustrated because you are not getting a call, maybe because of bandwidth issues, other issues here, your anger was too high, and you are screaming or you are shouting at the other party who is dealing with your things over there, as it has not been taken care of by whatever reasons, right? So you have shouted like anything over there. So of course you have released your frustration, your anger to other party, but you never bother about that one, the other party, the situation or the workspace or workplace, whatever, or the kind of work he or she has been doing, and she must be also under some kind of pressure of like your anger like this way, she must be or he must be also listening or screaming from everybody, whatever things are there. So definitely he or she, the reception or the other party, definitely won't listen to you, because you are made or you have released your frustration, anger, in a loud, high tone, high pitch voice, whatever you say that one, right? Whereas the other guy's example has taken a little differently. Like he's also frustrated, but he controls his anger, and but in other words, he tried to attend in a different way. Like, for example, I say saying they say reception counter that one, how tedious your work is handling such kind of things are there. I'm imagining that one, how much workload with you, and it's just giving a sympathetic tone to the other party, right? Even though that lady or that reception center, may not say you, may not give you a job card, whatever reasons, all things are. But I say that one, you have requested again. I know that one, these things are not possible at your end, but if any vacancy comes, if somebody not turned up, if somebody not dropped out, I can help you. It happened that one, right? Some drop out, or someone is not attended, or someone is not coming to join or something. Hence, and you are the person who has given a soft touch, a soft tone, right? And is getting invited and to the position that the reception counter taken care of this one. So there are two persons over there. One is someone is just releasing frustration, screaming, whatever things, and other one is, though it's controlling his all things are, but nicely being nice to the others and try to understand others' responsibility, others' work, and accordingly, adjust the tone, right? Adjust the tone and the way speaking, and that's what the second person got a job, whatever things. So I'm just trying to say that one, right? A little bit of practice makes the thing differently, right? So we have to understand the context, and you have to control ourselves. We have to make ourselves self-aware that one. Then only the things, the stressful things, instead of a reaction, we should give a response, right? Then only things will move properly, right? So recognize the importance of emotions even in the technical field also there, right? So now when you look for a self-regulation, when I talk about wherein the Christian Gasper has is a motivational speaker, so what she say that when if we are in a heightened state of agitation or anger, we cannot make good decisions, we can't reason well. So that's what the Christine Casper is trying to say. So what exactly this could be that one? Accept responsibility for choosing your own emotional responses over there, right? And learn to reframe the stressful situation into one that are challenging. Right? That is what one has to make into that. And be aware of and learn to manage your own emotional triggers. It is coming, but you have to control that one. For example, sometimes I just recall back or relate to when our own Prime Minister, late Prime Minister, Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Many times you must have seen that one, that when he was speaking, he was taking a lot of pause, right? Of course, those pause are a little bit, more longer than what usually supposed to be, but the pause is makes the difference in the sense, for each every sentences, whatever he was trying to tell about, right? He was, taking a pause and giving a right sentence so that it is not hurting, not harming anybody. And those sentences are so, meaningful and so touchy, and all things are there. I'm just recalling back such kind of things about. So I'm just trying to say that one, you have to control and to learn and to manage. So those kind of things over there. When we talk about a self motivation, when I talk about Dr. JP Pablil Frey, who is a co-director of Institute for the Health and Human Potential, what he says that one, high performers are those who are able to see with some clarity to what degree they are responsible for a setback and to what degree it may be circumstances or other people, and as a result they are able to be more persistent. So that is what Dr. Frey is trying to say that one, right? So you have to practice a self motivation. What exactly that? Recognize that emotions affect your performance. One is to understand emotions. You recognize emotions affect your performance, right? And identify your explanatory style. When a setback strikes, resist asking what's wrong with me instead of ask what can I fix it. What I mean to say that one, you have to ask yourself what's wrong with me instead of ask what I can fix it. So that's the way you have to, self-motivate yourself, right? So work to achieve your flow state, being in the moment with your work task over there, right? So when we talk about empathy, and Dr. Daryl Griggs, who is the co-developer of American Express of Emotional Competency Program, what he says that one, if people will stop for a moment and put themselves in another person's shoes, it will help them modify their own behavior, and it will help them to develop relationship with those people over there. This basically works well in your workspace is concerned, right? So wherever you work, or with respect to a colleague, yeah, working together, yeah, collaborative work, you look into these impact in everything day-to-day life. This is going to work very well over there. So when you say practicing empathy, so empathy means recognizing and responding appropriately to the emotions of others over there. So by expressing empathy, you also create an empathy in the others over there. So you realize that emotions impact such a measurable goal as productivity and safety is concerned, right? So that's what is the empathy, and you have to look into the affective relationship which is required in that. So where again the Daniel Goldman, what he's trying to say, and so there is a real payoff, means the people who will become the leaders, the people who will become the star performers are the ones who have the strength in the key emotional intelligence abilities, right? So you have to create a effective relationship. That means employ all your emotional competencies, awareness, regulation, motivation, empathy, and all things are to influence and persuade others, right? And build your consciousness and support for the team. Because you may have to work in a team, you might have to lead a team, and you have to work with so many students, or the students may have to work with many other students over there. So all these you have to, it is coming picture if you maintain if you create a effective relationship by using all such kind of thing. So motivate and inspire yourself and others to achieve these kind of goals over there. So what we say that one, the emotional intelligence, we say that one, the self-awareness and developing a positive sense of a self-worth. And we talk about problem solving, we talk about emotional management, we talk about impulsive control by yourself, and that will lead to a better decision making, and that will make to a better relation building, which may use empathy or social skill to take a responsibility for one's action over there. That is what we talk about emotional intelligence, right? So what is the connection, right? So unsuccessful in the college, disengaged, disconnected from the teachers and the peers, poorly developed sense of identity, struggle with relationship, negative attitude, and inexpressive. These are what is the basic connections happens in day-to-day life over there. So you have to what? You have to think. You have to think, you have to feel, and you have to act. Think, feel, and act, right? Again, think for it. That means give a pause, right? At the same time, feel it also, and then act. That is what we talk about that one. If you take a, generally speaking, if you take a 6-second minimum of 6-second pause before saying anything, right? So it will definitely have something. Instant reaction and 6-second reactions are little different. Instant response and 6-second response are different. The more the response, I mean, the pause you take, the better is your words is coming picture over there, right? So you may practice a bit also there. So if you see here, these are the some of the what is called your, the what is your emotions over there, right? So I'm just giving you some pictures, So you might have anger, and this you might have, laughing, and different, things you are coming over there, right? Emotions, different emotions. So coping with emotions, what we typically deal with emotions in one of the 4 ways: exaggerating the emotions so that are overwhelmed by them and lose control. It happens, or accepting the emotions and not to try regain the control. This happens with many of the people, and substituting the emotions with something more comfortable like distraction, or managing the emotions through a self-awareness. This is what it happens over there. So you have what you see, a few of the things could be anger, happiness, fear, disgust, surprise, love, and sad. These are the 7 basic emotions that you see here. So which emotions do you feel most often percentage of the day, and why? Right? If you calculate, if you make a chart, and tick mark over there for every day and write down something, and just to look, you make a weekly basis, you re-look in that one, and you will find there is a change of your emotional intelligence over there. This is a simple exercise one can days over there, which can be, will feel a significant improvement on these things are there, right? Talk about emotional intelligence characteristics. So this is the ability to access and emotions of others and groups. So to discriminate among emotions and thoughts and use this information to guide future thinking, and these things were there. So why we have to pay attention to the emotional intelligence over there. And one of the some of the one example that I have came across in Australia, while I was guiding a student. In fact, not I was guide, I was another professor, just like anybody. And one of the professor, I don't want to name, from the Chinese background, I mean from the country, and admitted a student, and students has worked for a couple of months. This is for a research project over there. So it happened that it happened something like this. The student on his way is trying to express whatever he was trying to do so. And of course, the student has a bit of less experience than the teacher, obviously. A teacher, a professor who is already a well-known professor in her field, and of course, it's trying to put a control in the sense that one try to say that one, you do this, you do that, this is not happening, I can't do this one, you have to follow what my guidelines, this and that, all things are. But the way of speaking a professor, right? It's sometimes when you are speaking to in front of others to a student, when you are speaking a student alone, are 2 different things over there, right? So now this was a matter of concern each and every time whenever this student was going to the professor, and the professor, of course, professor is right in her stand in the sense technical. I'm talking about a technical stand because of the experience, because of things, right? Because of the experience, because of things that it has to go in a particular way. She knows. Because she has been working on that area, she has been working on that technology. But the student want to explore a new thing over there, and this acceptance of new thing which is not been tested, right, and is not taken care properly by the professor over there. And again, the student side also, student side, when I say student has to understand that I'm trying to explore a new thing, obviously, which I don't know, I may be right or wrong, but I have to understand that when someone experienced one there, and which is, and I am a novice, right? Though I have I have a fire in my belly to explore something new, but there is there is a time, there is a money, because there's a project money, there's a project time, there is many more things involved in the stakeholders' point of view also, which a student cannot understand such kind of things, but in the larger sense, because those are the novice to the system over there. But only the fire is there in the belly, so that they want to do something differently, right? So in these cases, what happened? The professor is screaming, shouting, and the student also, maybe feeling little hurt by whatever things, because if the student feel that one, it has been not taken care of the way the student want to do something. So this becomes a conflict over there. So with a larger sense, the conflict has become the gap become wide and wide, and at the end, so those are coming against each other, that I don't want to guide, and the boy says that one, I don't want to work under you. So that was a conflict happens over there, that's called a work space conflict, a teacher student conflict, and which is a so-called academic conflict also. So this has happened, this one again. So in this cases, I was working in that area also, again, supposed to be, or luckily I was in that area, in fact. So where somewhere it has been, of course there was a Senate decision, not this university, so hence a Senate decision. So then the Senate, because my nature and all things were known, my profile was known to the student also, that, and it has been asked to the students that one, to whom you want to take in this technical lines over there. The student has chosen me in that cases. I'm not saying that one why me or not, I'm just trying to say that one, how do control how do you look into this situation and look into that. So what I try to do is when I try to put myself into the student's shoe over there. I try to understand what it was trying to say, this one, right? I try to understand what was his trying to explore all things are. I try to understand what is his body language. I try to understand why these aggressions are there. So these are the points I try to understand. I coolly listen instead of reacting. I was just listening, not giving a response also. Response I have given little later, but listening. So coolly listening. So be a good listener. Listen to that one. So when you are listening, right? So then obviously then now gradually now my response come little later, because I have understood. I try to put myself in the student's shoe over there. I have taken into all this is whatever the characteristics what I was trying to say, and put it myself into that, and I understand that. And then I say that, well, let's explore. Yes, I know that when there is a time, there is a money, there is all things involved, but let's explore. So again, I have turned into the same, though I'm not giving I'm a reaction, I was giving a response, but my response are, initially my response were a little bit, little bit low profile, and now when I have make a proper repo, right? So with a due course of time, right? So again, as I was listening to him, right? Now this boy it was expressing properly, and I was listening this. The same time, a proper repo has been created, and then I started giving my own response and giving the right direction. What actually supposed to be, even though the boy was not agreed with earlier professor, the same kind of work what the earlier professor was trying to do. Now the boy was agreed to do the similar kind of work. Of course, it cannot be same because this could be IP and copyrights are there. It's a little bit different, of course, again, but to a similar extent, it is again, he was listening to me. So what I did is that I was not screaming. I was just cool and calm. I was trying to understand. I was putting myself into his shoes. That was the one I was trying to, isn't it? So this was a emotionally controlling. Both I am controlling him, and he's also expressing, and he's also trying to control me. So both are controlling each other in such a way that the coordination was so proper, and proudly he has finished his work within a time frame which was a disturbance even though for 6 months, and that can be also worked on that way. So here I have applied so many emotional intelligence rules and practices, and which makes the things under control over there, right? So it is not it's not your gesture, right? It is many more things try to say. When you speak, how you convince, how you deal with it at a particular time, right? When you are dealing, are you doing one-to-one or one-to-many, right? So all this comes into picture, and that is called the intelligent way handling emotions. What I repeat, intelligent way handling emotions of other party, right? Intelligent way handling my emotions in the room. That means I was controlling something, even though I was getting angry by some of the activities, but I was controlling. I was not showing my anger, right? But anger also been shown in a different way, that the student also understand, yes, the teacher is getting irritated not to do such kind of thing. The teacher is doing so and so, hence not to do. They also try to understand that one. So there is a connection happened, and that is what called the both side, the better way of controlling each other happened over there. Now coming to the point, why pay attention to emotional intelligence over there? Now you see the general why population, now what you talk about growing and the needed these skills nowadays over there. Why I talk about general Y population, which is born after 1982 onward. That's called general Y, and of course the general jet also there. Obviously, I'm just talking to that one. So interpersonal skills are less developed, right? Computer skills or mobile skills are strong, skeptical and desensitized, and then multitask, enjoy multiple stimuli over there, feel comfortable challenging others over there, and hold high expectation and selves and others over there, right? And also they say that when they negotiate everything. That's what the generation Y is talking about, right? So now when I talking about such kind of thing over there, right, and what the employers say over now, a sense of entitlement, right? Bright but deficient in initiative and energy, right? And will not sacrifice outside activities for a job advancement over there. So quality of personal life is more important than the advancement. This is what the employers are saying over there. And low tolerance of a meaningless work, even well paid, such kind of thing. This is what the employers say. And I'll likely to volunteer even for a good cause also there. So such kind of things happens. And strongly connected to fear group and peck mentally over. And cynically about the job security. These are the employers trying to say, right? So now just giving a something like that, this is a different context over there. A massage student and a massage, which is equal a massage professional, right? So what is happening here? Massage therapist must have a very high emotional intelligence, right? So means what I try to say is something like that. That means work with all people, establish a therapeutic relationship, provide a safe and informed touch, and set a clear boundaries, plan a treatment, adapt a client needs, and interact with the other healthcare providers. I'm just talking about a massage therapy over there. Just you've seen the example, right? So you means what is safe, what is unsafe. You know what is boundaries. You know what is the kind of a plan of treatment, and you adapt the client's need over there. And that's what the healthcare products were there, and that's what the things are moving over there. So what is the things coming over there? So the skills that I talk about is that self-awareness, which many times I'm repeating, self-assessment, self-empowerment, crisis management, problem solving, positive thinking, and communication, and tolerance for the others. This is the emotional intelligence skills in the age of demand now, right? So now let's look into a video. It is not only these skills, but there are other skills are there. Certain video. Let me play that video.
People's first experience of the system is often profoundly alienating. This isn't the fault of their teachers, but of...
Is the sound audible? Is the sound audible? Response, please.
The system itself, which assesses us for a particular kind of intelligence.
Sir. Okay.
We pass or fail on ridiculously narrow criteria. I was lucky at school because I had the kind of intelligence they were looking for. Linear, analytical, hyperlexic. It was only after leaving school that I realized, in other respects, I was a complete dummy. I stumble over cognitive tasks that other people can perform in their sleep. A close friend who I see as a genius. He can listen to an engine, even on the phone, and tell you the problem is a particular bearing. He has a remarkable spatial, navigational intelligence, and even professional mechanics wonder how on earth he can do it. But he was deemed a total failure at school. He was confronted with tests that didn't fit the way his mind worked. I expect you've come across plenty of people like this. People you know are bright, but they're bright in the wrong way. They're bright in the way that isn't being assessed. The truth is that there are lots of different intelligences, and we shouldn't be surprised. During the evolutionary phase of our history, a group of people will be more likely to survive if its different members saw the world in different ways. Some people could make excellent tools. Some people could hunt very well. Some people were good at looking out for danger. Some people were good at strategizing how to get through a long winter. Some people could tell the stories that would inform the next generation. We needed a load of different intelligences in order to survive. Nowadays, we are treated as if only one kind of intelligence is valid. Anyone with a different intelligence is deemed stupid. The way we are schooled compounds this alienation. How did we get to the point that we believe the best way of schooling children is to sit them behind a desk and insist they keep still? Children keeping still? That's difficult for anyone, but especially for kids with a roaming, navigational mind. I've done some volunteering with an adventure learning charity, and the first time I took a group of these children out, we were rock pooling on the shore. Most of the kids had never seen the sea before, never visited the countryside before. And there was one kid who just stood out. He was brilliant. He was there at my shoulder all the time. Whenever I said, "What's this?" or "Why is it this colour?" he would hazard a guess. And they were always interesting answers. He was finding things, catching things, picking things up. And after a couple of hours, I said to his teacher, "That kid is a genius." She said, "Him? He's bottom of the class." If a kid like that is failing, it is not the kid's fault. The fault is with the system. As I say, I don't blame the teachers because they have to teach to the system. Plenty of teachers desperately want to do creative things with their children, to discover their different intelligences, but they are forbidden to do so. If an intelligent child fails a test designed to assess a different kind of intelligence, They become alienated, not just from school, but from the system as a whole. The danger is that they then become alienated from public life, alienated from society, eventually alienated from themselves.
So what I mean to say that the intelligence, when I talk about emotional intelligence, it's not the only thing that we have been talking about, you and me, about the environment. It go beyond that one. So all this comes with a different kind of intelligence when we talk about the students or teachers, any other societal developments are there. So these are different kinds. One is to understand also the different kind of intelligence that we have, and one is to cope up with this, and we have to understand the people first over there. So let's complete this one few more things. So to address, we have to understand the all kind of intelligence over there. And I was trying to understand the one I was giving example. I was trying to understand what kind of intelligence the student had. So, and looking into that, and I was dealing with him and amicably within though it has taken a little bit time, but amicably it has been taken into a different level from where he was going to a different set of minds to a positive mind, and hence has done a great work, and of course also got a award of so-called best thesis in his time over there, and of course also many more awards he got, and after doing a good work with me and all things like that. And that's what I've used. I understand the boys the characteristics, and what is likes and dislikes, and what is where he is good at, and why he want to do something over there. And that's why he was trying to do something differently, and what is the fire in his belly to do something over there. And I have taken into account, and hence deal with my own emotions towards him, and again he was dealing with the same a different kind of emotions towards me over there. So controlling both parties' emotions together and make a great work during that time. That was one of the experience I was trying to share. Moving ahead. So what skill can school or college teach successfully? So one is to, I say that one, self-awareness, empowerment, communication skill, group interaction, and conflict resolution that we talk about. So simple emotional intelligence activities, example, mood check we talk about. It develop awareness of the mood, how it affects academic performance, how it affects learning environment, how it affects others, and how to refocus and regain a more positive attitude over there. So you have, there are so many, families of emotional chart. One can look into that one, right? So these are the, different 6 different ways. So happy to the, content, acoustic, joyous, please, something, and depressed or sad or something like that, or surprised, shocked, and all things are there. These are the different family of emotional, chart, and that one can use to carry over the task over there. Now, class dynamics early, add emotional intelligence content to a classes, give points to the emotional intelligence, plan personal growth activities with a point of value, and plan group activities where students take clearly defined roles over there. So when you talk about the learning environment, what we talk about that one, we talk about effective education. Emotions and feelings of inadequacy tend to be stronger when students learn a foreign language, something different. That's what the Genesis has told. But teachers need to create a learning environment that promote a emotional security, right? So when we talk about the teaching learning process, this is required now. Looking for a pandemic also, this could be a still questionable that one. How can we look into how can you provide a emotional security to our students and vice versa, and that what one is to read. So intelligent use one of the emotions. The teacher set to the emotional tone in the classroom teaching whenever to talk about, right? So you have to look for your passion, motivation, commitment, the ability to make them a self-aware, ability to manage oneself also. Such kind of things were required for when comes a teaching learning process are concerned about it. So this provides an intrinsic motivation to learn to, when you are trying to give over there. Encourage motivation to develop one's ability by celebrating one's strength rather than focusing on the weaknesses over there. So all that talking about a positive attitude is concerned over there. So EQ, which is called the emotional quotient, is more reliable predictor of academic achievement than IQ we talk about, right? When we talk about the IQ versus EQ talking about, and EQ can be controlled, can be enhanced, with the time to time, whereas IQ is somewhere is gifted and it become a little stagnant after certain age. IQ goes a little more stronger around the age of 17, 18, and after that it becomes flat over there, whereas one cannot change, but EQ can be changed so that it can be better one. So when I talk about the education and EI, and so this create a relationship-centered, student-centered approach to the education, and students cope better with the transitions over there, and better career prospect. That is talking about that one. So this is what I talk about education. How can the teacher use emotional intelligence over there? Many of your teachers were there. So you have to look for the pay attention to self and others' body language over there. So as I said that one, I was paying attention to the body language of the student. Similarly, the student has to also pay attention to the body language of teacher. Of course, now it's a pandemic, but in an offline class, it's even though in the pandemic also, when you are talking about a camera or your expression, facial expression, hand movement, all things, it shows that way. So listen more, speak less. That's the develops the empathy over there, right? Get curious, not furious. That means watch what you say, especially when frustrated or annoyed. Reframe the negative emotions over there and can be replaced with a, do you see something in this that I must have missed? This is the kind of a question, right? Reason for working together. Remember that emotions are definitely contagious, and a person's emotions, whether negative or positive, always influence others over there, right? So if you are a teacher, so should be careful to show only those emotions which are they want to see in others. The golden rule basically is that. So for an educator, when I talk about it should be clear communication, empathy, self-awareness, decision-making, problem-solving, sharing, gentleness, perseverance, self-motivation, self-control, getting along with the others. These are the word people, the others will learn from this one, right? So these are the very much essential thing one has to do over here. So another one that is called the social emotional learning. Social emotional learning helps students build resiliency and learn from the failure. So it helps them make the best choice in the life. That is what you have seen this in the video, what I tried to say that. So that means you have to, again, look into those activities, what I tried to say, those 4-5 points over there, starting from a self-awareness to the self-management to the social awareness, all things. So one is to look into, for example, look for a self-management. You skill allow individual to handle daily stresses and control their emotions under a difficult situation, right? So, and when you talk about the awareness, social awareness, allow individual to take other perspective into the account and empathize with the others. So because these are the things, skills required when you go out from a students to the workplace, socially relevant thing. This is very much required to, in your workplace, any places, these skills are very much required to understand others over there, right? So similarly, relationship management, this allows a student to develop and maintain healthy relationship with others and seek help when needed, right? So this is with a good relationship. I'm talking about relationship can be anything over there, right? Could be a student teacher, could be a different colleague, or could be a workplace, or could be any other kind of relationship. This is very much required there. And emotional intelligence is a factor in a second language learning. Basically, it's say that one. This is which enhance the integration of a cognition with affect, cognition skill over there. What the cognition is, that one? Cognition means means understanding one's personal trait, basically, right? So example, when I talk about a interview, an interview, when you're going for an interview, apart from technical things, one is to understand the cognitive part of it, and which doing all such kind of things over there, right? So this involves what one's feeling are and using that knowledge to make a good decision, right? That is what it has been used in EFL, right? And then there are so many educational practices are there. So we, of course, nowadays we talk about a student-centered discipline, responsibility and choice, warmth and support, cooperative learning. We talk about classroom discussion. Now, when you talk about cooperative learning, or even you talk about a collaborative learning, because nowadays, whenever you do a project, you students, anybody, whoever, right, individuals, anything that one, you may have to do with many other people. You are not individual to do something over there, because nowadays all these the things are more on the collaborative work. Collaborator people talk about that one, right? Any kind of a projects, all are in a collaborative mode over there. So it requires a warmth and support with the employee, or with the employer, or with any supervisor, manager, whatever, or even any kind of a peer over. So when you talk about a learning, we talk about a cooperative learning. This because when you suppose if you are asking some question or to somebody, not a question, suppose submitting assignment, you're submitting something over there, right? The other party denies, other party may not give also. So there are emotions involved in these cases, to help or not to help, right? To help means to what extent it could be help. Is it a jealous to someone is giving and I don't want to give, or is it a friendship, or is it what is the one that the assignment exchange happens over there, or the whatever things are. So it requires the so-called a cooperative learning comes in picture over there, right? So when you are cooperative means when you understand others point of view, and then you react or respond. Not a react is a wrong word, it should be response, basically, because when you give a reaction, this has been taken little more on the a negative word than the when you talk about a response, it could be taken as a positive word. So we talk about a positive word, that's called a response is concerned over there. So you require a balanced one, you require a realistic one, you require a modeling practice, you require a different kind of a feedback approach to do this one. I'm just talking about a little bit educational one, because we talk about educational environment. So what we need is something an icebreaker, right? So when I talk about the icebreaker, I was using this word icebreaker in that sense. I have how do I break the ice, when means like the student conflict. When I talk about that one, what I talk about that, how I have broken this ice, so that the guy was trying to tell me in the what actually it was going in his mind, or whatever things are. Similarly, when you are trying to approach anybody, right, even though you may be introvert, so you may not be extrovert, but how do you make a change, right? But this requires a coming forward and giving a handshake and telling, expressing yourself, and trying to try to motivate, try to not only motivate but also try to say a way that the other party want to have a collaborative with you. That's what very much required. Though it's a educational technique I just named, but it can be everywhere. Icebreaker is one that goes in this way, right? So warm up or sponge activities, this is what actually that this is how to making a handshake over there, right? So that is what very much required there. Providing varied learning activities. That means, see, when you talk about a learning is not limited to, I'm talking about as a student activities. No, learning about any stage of thing, it's learning is there itself, right? So because as a technological change happening, we are bound to learn many more things over there, right? So many more things learn means you have to be having a varied learning and activities you should have in your mind. Then only things over there. Brainstorming and discussion, this is very much required because many kind of debating there, many kind of group discussions where the many kind you to attend a meeting, so that, but how do you participate in a positive discussion about there, brainstorming, or when you are participating with a meeting in a sense, like I'm talking about a meeting, not only student meeting, I'm talking about as a professional meeting, all things are there. Everybody try to put their own, right, without hurting anybody. Everybody try to achieve a particular goal, what they are trying to do, because everybody you have to showcase yourself, isn't it? So that you want to create an impact also. But how do you create an impact over there, right? But when you are creating impact, it does not mean that you are just aggressively saying something. No, that won't go well. That won't go well. So how do you manage to speak out something that you want to put your points over there? So there is a way out of it. So you have to understand the situation, because you are trying to someone A has told, now you're telling B, you want to say something, but which it happened that on the similar kind of things already the Mr. A has told that one. But how can you do that? Because it already your plot has got taken care by other one. So you have to be, you have to control yourself and respect the others at the same time, and express something little different, even though it could be the same thing, right? So that is another kind of a emotional intelligence you have to apply while you are giving a or expressing your concerns in a meeting, or in a business meeting, any kind of meeting that you have done, or any kind of discussion that you have done. So when you talk about a role playing or stimulation, that are also related to the real world also, right? So always look into a groupism, group work, project work, providing a feedback, managing expectation. These are also, when you talk about you emotionally, you look into that one, right? Now, when you talk about a responsive classroom method, when I talk about the goal is to help create a culture where students care about each other and the school and classroom and all things are. This is what the different kind of learning that we talk about that. Now, when I talk about you to design and improve the way the teachers interact with the students and the way the students interact with the others also. So classroom meetings could be different kind of scenario where both the parties have to maintain a emotionally connecting each other, not hurting each other, and to be a positive direction, even though there could be a mischievous things, even though there could be something teasing, something could be there, but it has to be, it is a way of doing something, that one, right? So one has to emotionally, maturely has to look into a student's perspective, a teacher's perspective, a colleague's perspective, and then you have to look for a different kind of a social skill among the student to reinforce a proper use of those kind of skills over there, right? So to make the classroom or the session very smooth, and that could be a proper transition can happen over there. So everywhere it plays a body language. What I say that the body language plays a very very important role, plays a very important role when I talk about the EQ or EI, some kind of things are there, right? So how to improve things are there? How to improve your emotional intelligence? Observe how we react to people. Try to put yourself in their place and be more open and accepting of their perspective and needs. So you should be accepting mode. You should be remain in accepting mode. This is a practice required there, right? So do continuous self-evaluation and what are your weakness and strength. You can chart it. You can write down somewhere. You can mark it somewhere, right? Examine how we react to a stressful situation. You can again mark this one, right? Recall back how you reacted. Recall back how you have given a statements over there, right? If you think back, then you come to know that one, right? So example, when you go out of your home and suddenly you see that some of your things has been damaged. So suddenly you react it. Right? No, instead of reacting, how do you make it calm? Right? How do you make it calm? That you have to control your emotions. Because when you go out, you have seen something damage in your home, your whatever things are, it will really impact your office works also there, right? So because your angers are there again and again, it impact in office works, in office culture, in office colleagues and all things. It may impact over there. So you cannot afford to be shouting at other part of it. In your home, if you're shouting, someone may listen, but in office, people may not listen over there. Or people listen, then they will be a negative impact in your career, or some other time people take a note of it, and this will do it, right? So you have to be self-control. You have to adopt a self-control is required. Examine how we react to a stressful. You have to examine this one. Take responsibility for our actions and examine how our actions will affect others also. So that makes a different things are there, right? So would we want that they experience those actions? If you look back, you'll come to know, though, no, I have done wrong, and probably I could have told this. I should not say this, or such kind of things will come into picture. You think back. You write down somewhere. If you maintain a diary, you write down somewhere. This will impact your all things were there. So now, when I talk about the writing part, what I try to say that one, the self-awareness and open communication. When I talk about, so say that how often you do, right? So means example, how often I laugh? Very often, sometimes, rarely. I'm talking about a chart to control yourself. I'm talking about a self-awareness for yourself, right? So if you make a chart and you click it over there, and after 1 week you see this one, how things were happened over there. Then when you look back, you'll definitely our mind will correct, or our own emotions will correct ourselves, right? Isn't it? So that is what I'm just giving a same thing, like how often you. Often do you? Very often, sometimes, rarely, or never. So, for example, get angry, making mistakes, forget things, change your mind, really enjoy. Like this way, there are many more things. I've just given a simple word that one can do this one, right? How can you change it? So, as I said that one, when we talk about emotional intelligence growth over a time, it doesn't happen overnight, obviously. So it definitely it improves with respect to time, right? Though the picture is not clear over there, but I'm trying to say that one, it really one can improve our emotional intelligence with a little practice, so that we can and also can sustain a longer term also. It's not that one IQ is not sustaining it's a stable. After that, it is not increasing, but whereas EQ, emotional intelligence, it increase, and it can also be sustained with a longer time. Longer time is not longer months, but longer years. I'm talking about that one. And of course, with respect to aging, when you become a senior citizen, it may decrease, but still until that it remains, it can increase over there. So when I say that the EI can be developed at any age. Any age. There is nothing like an age. Any age can be developed. But age and maturity are positively correlated with the EI, definitely. So children develop emotional intelligence during first 15 years of life as they mature over there. That's what the Goldman has told. But emotional intelligence skills allows us to be more effective both professionally and personally over there. Right. That is what we talk about now. So something one can put that this should be activities. So in that way, one can look that one can make a multiple groups, and one can think of that one. What approach do you use to build a safe and caring learning environment? And one can this kind of assignment one can do, or what instructional strategies do you use to improve the learner's ability to express emotional appropriately, make responsible decision, or solve problem effectively? What I'm saying is, when if you have a debate on such kind of things over there, right? If you make a multiple group and to work out such kind of thing, definitely there will be a change in your emotional intelligence level over there. So that is what I try to say. How can you integrate social emotional learning with a traditional academics to enhance the learning over there? This I told just a kind of academic point of view, but can be equally applicable to others also. Different kind of question can be set over there. So when we talk about identifying skills to develop, students have to develop emotional self-awareness, self-regard, and we talk about the assertiveness, independence, self-actualization, reality testing, flexibility, problem solving, stress tolerance, impulsive control, empathy, social responsibility, and interpersonal relationship. These are the things the student, you people have to develop because so that you can be a better, professional in later part of the life over there. So when I talk about the self-awareness, we talk about emotional self-awareness or self-regard, all this plus giving to a coping skill, which can impulse control, can have a stress tolerance, can have a problem solving skill, and this is related to your interpersonal skill. All these are related to. If you start with a self-awareness, such kind of thing, then it's coping with the skills, which can predict also the effective relationship, and which also results in a personal and interpersonal effectiveness. All these are connected. So if you start, this will increase, and then we'll relate this, then we'll relate this, and then we'll relate this. Like this way, this is the basically a movement how you are increasing your emotional intelligence level towards a professional or interpersonal effectiveness that we talk about, personal to professional also. So now there is a research question comes over there. Would student teachers improve the emotional intelligence of their teaching if given feedback by a teacher educator? Or if a student teacher emotional intelligence improve, does this lead to improve overall teaching performance? So this is a research question. Obviously, those who want to, the teachers who want to do a research on these lines, they can look into these things out there. So when I talk about the emotional intelligence and teaching, so this also comes in picture when you are with the learners. You have to chance to connect with them beyond the transmission and discussion of the ideas and facts, and thereby transform the experience both for you and them. So if you do not use emotional intelligence in your teaching, then the value of both your subject knowledge and your learning and teaching methods can be seriously diminished. This is, I'm not saying this is Timothy Boyce has told in 2005, that was the research works try to say that. So when I talk about the subject knowledge, learning and teaching methods and emotional intelligence, and they are connected in this way, right? So what does emotional intelligence teaching look like? So subject knowledge, or if you put the teaching qualities below under the most appropriate heading, so this can become approachable, can answer any question or topic, or clear speaking, expert, good material, and authoritative, clear direction, demonstrate empathy, all such kind of things comes in picture over there. So when I say that one, subject knowledge and the teaching learning methods, emotional intelligence, all this makes into picture over there. Now, when I talk about the emotional intelligence at workplace, there what it means over there. Emotional intelligence, when I talk about this is a again the definition. It is the capacity to be aware of, control and express one's emotions, and to handle interpersonal relationship judiciously and empathetically. So that is what we again redefine definitions. So the capacity to be aware of, control and express one's emotions, and to handle interpersonal relationship judiciously and empathetically, right? So this AI is the key to both personal and professional success over there. When I talk about emotional intelligence, we talk about the recognition, who am I, self-awareness, right? The ability to recognize and understand your moods and the emotions and the drive, as well as the effect of the others. That is called the who am I, which is your awareness talk about. Regulation, when I talk about, again, you talk about ability to control or redirect disruptive impulses and moods, the propensity to suspend judgment or to think before acting over. there, right? So these are, when all these 4 quadrant, really this is a piece of information that tells you something about how you are experiencing your world, right? Are one thing common to all that provides a sense of community, or experienced internally and expressly, or experienced internally or expressed externally. All emotions are from the energy and can provide motivations over there, right? So, or both consciously and unconsciously generated. So these are the some of the emotions that we talk about, and right. So, or not good or bad, they just are. These are the emotions when we talk about. So, type of emotion, many things what we talk about is something like this. So you have a glad, joy. All emotions are of a set of a mix of these 4 when I talk about glad, mad, or joy, anger, fear, or sadness. These are the 4 basic emotions that we talk about, isn't it? So when I talk about these things, then comes with us is something like this way. You have a cognitive, behavioral, physiological, and emotional. This is basically is impacting your self-awareness, right? Your thoughts, your belief, your cognitive self-talk, all these related to your emotional, right? Cognitive one. At the same time also, it is also a 2-way that is called a physiological. So genetics, physiology, or so these also matters over there. And similarly, you have a behavioral, which is connecting to your cognitive one, thoughts and actions, behaviors also there, isn't it? So all these comes into picture, right? This is this self-awareness when I talk about, right? So emotions and the brain, there is also a connections over there. You have the brain also have such kind of things. So when I talk about a space, I was using the 6 second, right? Actions, and 6 second it becomes a reactions over there. That's so space that you maintain. So this is what I talk about. The emotional brain respond to an event more quickly than thinking brain over there. So by the time you figure out what I am going to do, I already done it. So one has to look into that one. So you have the brain part which is looking into that way, right? So what you have to do with that one? Stop, pause for a 6 second, take a breath, one slow, calm breath. Observe what I am thinking, what I am reacting to, what I am feeling in my body. Pull back, put in some perspective, see the bigger picture in this spectrum of opinion, and proceed or practice. What's the best thing to do for me, for others, or for situation? That is what you have to do to look into your emotionally response or emotional actions over there. That is what okay. So pause for a 6 second. This you practice, really it will work for you. So the strategy to manage your emotions, there could be a cognitive strategy, which is challenging your thoughts or letting them to go, or a physical strategies, which is a meditation, yoga, guided imagery, or breathing regulation exercise, or something can be done, right? Or there could be a avoidance, which can be step away from the person, situation, or activity that you can do. How do you manage those things over there? Pleasurable activities, you can make humor, you can hobbies, you can socialize in all thing. You have an emotional dialogue, maybe venting, maybe talking with others, or you might have an indirect tension relaxation. It could be TV or mobile, Netflix, or can be a chocolate, can be coffee, or can be movies, could be there also. Or there could be a direct tension relaxation, that is the meditation. This is the way strategies to manage your emotions. Some of the activities one can do this way, right? So when you talk about a cognitive strategy, you have a disputations example, find different ways to think about a situation. So you have evidence. What evidence do you have to justify the thoughts and feelings you have? Or thinking error, am I thinking irrationally about the situation? That means what thinking errors are you are making? And alertness, what are the other possible causes of the situation? Are there any perspectives? These are the questions that you have to ask yourself, right? So by having such kind of thing, definitely you have sometimes the consciousness of the holding of your thoughts are more destructive than thought itself. So you have to look for, is it a usefulness? So these are some of the cognitive strategies one can apply to make a self-control of yourself for while saying something, while reacting, while responding something over there. This you must have known. No, many of you must have known, right? And recognizing emotions in others. A small video, what I'm trying to play, and this is a little funny, but there are many more things it has to say. And let's see how it goes.
You may open the envelopes containing your papers. The exam starts now.
So you have to think that one, what kind of the emotional quotient or low EQ is there in this scenario, and how this can be improved over there. A lot of thoughts inside there in this video.
2 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. At the end, with those who answer the green calculus papers, please put them in the green box. And those who answer the white trigonometry papers, please put them in the white box. Stop writing, please. I said stop writing. Will you stop writing?
So this was the one what I was trying to say. So when we talk about expressing your feeling to the others, so there are multiple ways. That is a passive. I don't count, so you can take advantage of me. My feeling, needs, and thoughts are less important than yours. I will put up in anything. So this could be passive or assertive or could be aggressive. Aggressive means this is what I think, what I want, and what I feel. What matters to is not important. So one has to understand how do you whether you want to do a passive, you want to do an assertive one, and what you want to aggressive. It depends upon situation, how it works over there. So one has to think on that, right? So how to express properly. Similarly, expressing yourself assertively. When I say that one I statement, I feel, I have noticed, when you, because, I would prefer, could you please. So you have given me too much work. So I feel overwhelmed because of all this work I have to do. Is there any way, can I delegate this to someone else? So this is the way one has to, express in a proper way. So expressing the way you express is also a matters over there. So when we talk about we aware of how the situation impact your thoughts, feelings, and physical reactions, and how these may influence your behaviors. Listen to verbal cues. Use I statement, not you statement. Obviously, stop. That means stop, take breath, observe, pull back, practice, and that's called like STOPP. Don't immediately believe all of your thoughts, selling themselves, or right, do regular self-activity. That is what may very much require over there, right? So there are some different kind of emotions that in the video that you will play, and that would be another 5 minutes. I will take it, and that is something like this way. Let's look into that. The bright side of the things, the different signs.
Emotional intelligence helps people to communicate with others more effectively, manage their behavior and emotions, and make decisions that lead to the best results. And although this feature doesn't have any connection with how smart a person is, low emotional intelligence can create additional difficulties on a person's way to success. Before you get to know about 17 signs of low emotional intelligence, hit subscribe and turn on notifications to join us on the bright side of life. 1. Having difficulties with understanding the feelings of other people. People with low emotional intelligence, considering others overly sensitive. People with low emotional intelligence may not realize that they're doing something inappropriate. For example, they may be cracking jokes while those around them mourn or feel depressed. And when low EQ people don't get the reaction they expect, they may decide that others are being too sensitive. It's a big challenge for people with a lack of emotional intelligence to interpret the emotions of other people, and as a result, they may misjudge a situation. 4. Having unexpected emotional outbursts. One of the most critical elements of emotional intelligence is the ability to control your emotions. Unfortunately, people whose EQ isn't very developed tend to lose control over their reactions. It often leads to overblown and sudden emotional outbursts. 5. Lacking empathy. Now that you know low EQ people are unable to understand the feelings of others, that's the reason why they have a lack of empathy. Since they can't catch the nuances of somebody's emotional state, they can't imagine themselves in this person's shoes. 6. Having difficulties with keeping friends. Low EQ people often create an impression of cold and uncaring. That is the reason why they have problems with making and keeping friends. Close friends are supposed to give each other emotional support, but those who have a lack of emotional intelligence aren't able to provide this. 7. Being unable to deal with emotionally charged situations. Powerful emotions can baffle even high EQ people. As for those who don't have enough emotional intelligence, for them, it's often unbearably hard to handle situations which are too emotionally charged. These people don't understand what's happening and can't figure out how to solve the problem. Low EQ people prefer to walk away rather than to deal with all the emotional turmoil. On top of that, in these situations, they are particularly likely to close off and hide their real emotions deep inside. 8. Walking around with a poker face. High emotional intelligence means that you understand the emotions of other people. At the same time, it also suggests the ability to express your own feelings in such a way that people around you can identify them. If a person always walks around with a, so to say, poker face, and you can never tell what they are feeling at the moment, it's a clear sign of their low EQ. 9. Being tone deaf. Most people express their emotions not only through what they say and what their face shows, but also through their voice and its intonations. Those who have a lack of emotional intelligence can't recognize the emotions of other people from the tone of their voice. That's why if your colleague can't say that you're displeased during your phone conversation, you might be dealing with a person with low emotional intelligence. 10. Easily getting stressed. People with low emotional intelligence don't show their feelings and keep them bottled on the inside. As a result, some negative emotions pile up and create a mix of anxiety, tension, and stress. That's dangerous because such suppressed emotions can lead to different health issues. People with high emotional intelligence can manage their feelings by tackling different situations in time. But those who don't have this ability may find other ways of managing their emotional state. Unfortunately, these means are not as effective as finding a solution before a problem escalates. What's worse, the ways people with low emotional intelligence use to get rid of stress are often destructive. 11. Being unable to specify and name emotions. Low EQ people don't have an extended emotional vocabulary. Therefore, even when they experience some emotion, they're unable to identify what exactly they feel. But, well, to be fair, only 36% of all people can do this correctly. In any case, if you don't know what you feel because you can't find the name for this emotion, you can't cope with it, right? Unlabeled emotions tend to be misunderstood, and as a result, people make unwise choices. While one person says that they feel bad, another distinguishes between feeling anxious, worried, frustrated, sad, or annoyed. The more
So what you see, the 17, all the emotional intelligence can be applied and can be groomed and can be developed. It's not that one that cannot be developed, that can be developed over there with respect to time and space. So in summary, emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize your emotions, understand what they are telling you, and realize how your emotions affect people around you. You understand your perception of others, and when you understand how they feel it, this allows you to manage the relationship more effectively. That is what the things over there. So when I talk about such kind of thing over there, and that's what the session of emotional intelligence. I hope you have enjoying this emotional intelligence, and I can take the questions now. Any questions to me? Any questions?
No, sir. So far, there is no question from student side.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful speech. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sir. I'm Sujata Shabade from ITCS Department of Pillai College of Arts, Commerce and Science. I'm here to present word of thanks. I would like to thank our eminent speaker of the day, Dr. Amiya Tripathy, sir, for visiting and enlightening us with their knowledge. I'm pretty sure that the precious information that Dr. Amiya Tripathy, sir, shared will be definitely help us in understanding how we can be emotionally intelligent and can come out of any kind of stressful situation. Once again, I would like to thank Dr. Amiya Tripathy, sir, for taking out time from their busy schedule and sharing us precious knowledge on the emotional intelligence. I would also like to thank our CEO, Dr. Priyam Pillai, sir, Principal Dr. Gajanan Vade, sir, and Vice Principal Mrs. Deepika Sharma, ma'am, for giving permission to organize this webinar session. I would like to thank all our teachers and technical team for working hard to make this webinar successful. Also, thank you to all the students present here for paying your attention. With this, I would like to end my speech. Thank you so much. Once again, thank you so much, Dr. Amiya Tripathy.
Thank you. I will share my contents to Subhangi madam, so that this can be given to the whoever is required. All this content in some other materials also I will mail, so that students can benefit from this things over there. Okay. Thank you.
You must thank.
So may I leave now?
Yes, sir. Thank you very
much. Thank you. Thank you.
Please share the quiz link.
Yeah, Priyanka ma'am will be sharing quiz link in the chat box. It's compulsory for all of you to fill in, solve that quiz. Thank you so much.
Shubhangi, I'll post the link here, or I'll post the link in the classroom.
No, you need to post it here because biotech students are on, so have joined the session. Huh?
Okay. ठीक.
Dishad, you will be sharing this quiz on YouTube session, right? Dishad?
Yes, ma'am. Mala link send.
Yes, I'll be sending you link. You'll be sharing on